Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Cropper here. We are going to be doing part 2 of William whatever this guy is. William Vallicella. Maverick philosopher Rand's misunderstanding of Immanuel Kant. All right, we've made it down here to give you some ideas. We're going to go from here, and we're going to have to go to the Ayn Rand lexicon and do a little bit of reading about logical positivism. That'll be fun. So let's begin here to give you some idea of the pitiful level Rand operates from. Consider her suggestion near the bottom of the same page that logical positivists are neo-mystics. Old Carnap must be turning over in his grave. Well, let's go look at logical positivism here in the Ayn Rand lexicon. Well, you may hear my cat going crazy here. Okay, For the New Intellectual. Ever since Kant divorced reason from reality, his intellectual descendants have been diligently widening the breach. In the name of reason, pragmatism established a range of the moment view as an enlightened perspective on life. Context dropping as a rule of epistemology, expediency as a principle of morality, and collective subjectivism as a substitute for metaphysics. Logical positivism carried it farther, and in the name of reason, elevated the immemorial psychoepistemology of shyster lawyers to the status of a scientific epistemological system by proclaiming that knowledge consists of linguistic manipulations. All right, there's the first. Now, it's a little bit floaty and it's taken out of context. This cat is going crazy tonight. Sorry about this. Now, next, the cashing in the student rebellion. If the student rebels seem unable to formulate or sustain a systemized political theory of society, yet shriek with moral righteousness that they propose to achieve their social goals by physical force, hasn't logical positivism taught them that ethical propositions have no cognitive meaning and are merely a report on one's feelings? Now, that's exactly what we see today, ladies and gentlemen. People just shrieking their feelings. Nowadays, we have different things for it. It's the outrage culture. It's the social justice warrior virtue signaling culture. It's offensive. Everything's I'm offended. Oh, come on, that cat's getting... Psst, go on, get out of here. All right. She's crazy tonight. Okay. Where the hell are we? I'm sorry about the damn cat. Let's see. Taught the ethical propositions have no... Okay. So that's where we are today with virtue signaling and stuff. Hasn't logical positivism taught them that ethical propositions have no cognitive meaning and are merely a report on one's feelings, or the equivalent of emotional ejaculations? Now, we've got the same thing going on today, but it's all about group identity. But this is all still Immanuel Kant's philosophy. There's the same thing in the 60s. If they are savagely blind to everything but the immediate moment, hasn't logical positivism taught them that nothing can be claimed with certainty to exist? All right, so if there's no certainty in reality, does that sound like a good basis? I mean, is that not, what did he say? Neo-mystics. Are they not mystics? They're just new mystics. Logical positivists are new mystics. Okay. Logical positivism declares that reality, identity, existence, and mind are meaningless terms, that man can be certain of nothing but the sensory perception of the immediate moment. Now, logical positivism is just a D2 type, Immanuel Kant type person who says that the sensory perception, basically it's an Immanuel Kant person who says that sensory perception is all that we have. They take exception to Immanuel Kant's idea that there's this garbage in the mind and there's this stuff. They don't think there's all that stuff in the mind, these categories and all this stuff. There's only our sense perception. That's it. That's all that exists. It's logical positivism. We don't know what reality is. All we know is our sense perception. We don't know the identity of things. All we know is what we perceive. There's only appearance. Everything is appearance. We don't know anything about existence. We don't have a mind. We are only our senses. That's logical positivism. All right. It declares that the meaning of the proposition Napoleon lost the Battle of Waterloo is your walk to the library where you read it in a book. So the proposition is no more meaningful than you in the library reading it in a book, because it's only what's right in front of your eyes. That's all that really exists. So did Napoleon actually lose the Battle of Waterloo? Was there somebody named Napoleon? Was there a place called Waterloo? Outside the questions of science, all we can do is what's in front of your eyeballs. Okay, so that is logical positivism. They are definitely a new form of mystic. They simply say the mind is not connected to reality, or the mind doesn't exist, or everything's all a delusion or something. You know, as mystics, they all say something like that. And logical positivists definitely are in that camp. So, dismissed. On page 65, we find another slam at Kant, this time against his ethics. Boy, Kant's ethics. Well, now, Kant said that any benefit destroys the morality of an action. Any benefit at all. An action must have no benefit to you, or it's not moral. Okay, so what do we have here? What Kant propounded was full, total, abject selflessness. He held that an action is moral only if you perform it out of a sense of duty and derive no benefit from it of any kind. That is the key. Neither material nor spiritual. If you derive any benefit, your action is not moral any longer. All right. This, too, is a travesty of Kant's actual position. No, it's not. It's a brilliant statement of Kant's position. Kant distinguishes duty and inclination. Grundlegung zur Metaphysik der Sitten-Akademie Ausgabe. This distinction must be made, since there are acts one is inclined to perform that may or may not be in accordance with duty. An inclination to behave rudely contravenes one's duty, while an inclination to behave in a kind manner is in accordance with it. Kant also distinguishes between acting from duty and acting in accordance with duty. One acts from duty if one's act is motivated by one's concern to do one's duty. Clearly, if one acts from duty, one acts in accordance with duty. But the converse does not hold. One can act in accordance with duty without acting from duty. Suppose Ron is naturally inclined to be kind to everyone he meets. On a given occasion, his kind treatment of a person is motivated not by duty, but by inclination. In this case, Ron acts in accordance with duty, but not from duty. Kant held that as an act has moral worth, held that an act has moral worth only if it is done from duty. Contra rand, however, this is obviously consistent with deriving a benefit from the act. Suppose, to adapt one of Kant's examples, I am a merchant who is in a position to cheat a customer. Acting from duty, I treat the customer fairly. My act has moral worth, even though I derive benefits from acting fairly and being perceived as acting fairly. Cheating customers is not good for business in the long run. Well, whether or not a merchant can sell goods and profit from them morally in a Kantian universe is up for question. One can see from this how confused Rand is. She thinks that an act performed from duty is equivalent to one that runs counter to inclination or counter to one's own benefit. But nowhere does Kant say this, and nothing he does say implies it. An act done from duty may or may not run counter to inclination. Either way, the act has moral worth. If Jack and Jill are married to each other and Jack asks Jill asks Jack for sex. Jack has a duty to engage in the act with Jill. Presumably, Jack will be strongly inclined in his animal nature to engage in the act, but if he acts from duty, then the act has moral worth despite the natural inclination. The difficulty of determining whether or not Jack acts from duty or from inclination is not to the point. So I persist in my view that Rand is a hack, and this is part of the explanation of why many professional philosophers accord her little respect. Well, we are just going to have to look into Kant's position on duty, because he is just absolutely contradicting Ayn Rand there. And from everything I've ever read of Kant, he believes that if you derive any benefit at all from an action, that destroys the moral nature of the action. So there is just an absolute contradiction between everything I've read of Kant and everything that Ayn Rand says about Kant and what he says. Now, I really wish he said something somewhere about something we could check or something. Distinguishes an act. Okay. One acts from duty. Conversely, a given occasion. Contra Rand, Kant's example. To adapt one of Kant's examples. He says that's Kant's example from where? All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I guess that will be part 3. I'm going to go look up some information on Immanuel Kant and his categorical imperative. And we will have to come back to the maverick philosopher because he hasn't said where. Oh, is this it? Grundlegung zur Metaphysik der Sitzen? That's probably it, isn't it? This stupid thing. I'll bet it's Groundworks of the Metaphysics of Morals. What was it again? Groundwork of the Metaphysics. The Sitten Morals? (1836–1889). Also includes Critique of Practical Reason. This one here. All right. Well, if this is it, oh God, is it a book? I was hoping for a 40-page essay. Oh, beautiful. Look at this. Very nice. Oh God, my heart skips a beat. I love nothing better than an old book, even if it's on a computer screen. I don't care. Okay, the Metaphysics of Ethics. Inquiry into the a priori operations of the will. The Metaphysics of Ethics. The duty of reverence. Offices of charity. The duty owed to others considered simply as men. Duties owed to others. Damn, 300 pages. I don't know exactly where to dive in on this video. So I've found what I'm going to look into. Here we go. This is going to be our next thing. Now, it's not appropriate for me to try to dive into this and find out what's going on here in this video. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is perhaps the end of what we'll be doing for this video, the Maverick Philosopher. Now then, is this guy about the place with other stuff? Let me do a quick search and see if he's around with other things. Copy. Is there a thing? Vallicella. My blogs, Maverick Philosopher blog. Okay, final post. It was lost. Join me there. Update. Huh, okay. All right, so I might be doing more stuff on this guy because he's got more stuff. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me. I will be looking into the metaphysics of morals. We'll be doing that of Kant. So now I've got the critique of pure reason going. With that of Kant. Now what do we got over here? Looking forward to your rebuttal. Yep, there it is. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me. See you soon.